本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，般若波罗蜜多心经，观自在菩萨行深般若波罗蜜多时，照见五蕴皆空，度一切苦厄。舍利子，色不异空，空不异色，色即是空，空即是色。受想行识，亦复如是。舍利子，是诸法空相，不生不灭，不垢不净，不增不减。是故空中无色，无受想行识，无眼耳鼻舌身意，无色声香味触法，无眼界乃至无意识界，无无明亦无无明尽，乃至无老死亦无老死尽，无苦集灭道，无智亦无得，亦无所得，故菩提萨埵依般若波罗蜜多故，心无挂碍，无挂碍故，无有恐怖远离颠倒梦想，究竟涅槃三世诸佛，依般若波罗蜜多故，得阿耨多罗三藐三菩提。故知般若波罗蜜多是大神咒，是大明咒，是无上咒，是无等等咒，能除一切苦，真实不虚。故说般若波罗蜜多咒，即说咒也。揭谛揭谛，波罗揭谛，波罗僧揭谛，菩提萨婆。Good evening, brothers and sisters. How are you all today? Good? Okay, today is the start of the Heart Sutra workshop. Earlier on, when I was in the room, one of the participants asked me, "So how long is this course going to be?" I said 10 lessons. And so he was quite surprised. He was like, I thought it is only about 100 over characters. Why do we need 10 lessons? So I said, no, it's 260 characters. One of the master from the Chinese Mahayana tradition, 天台智者大师, he spent about 3 months explaining the Lotus Sutra title, the first character of the title. It took 3 months. And if I don't recall wrongly, he was having lessons every day. So it took about 90 days to cover one letter, miao. So I'm kind of going briefly. So the Heart Sutra, what we have just recited is it's what we call the Heart Sutra. And today we'll start off by going through the title. We'll see how fast we go. Usually I'll go through the title and maybe the start of the sutra itself. Our lesson time is from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. 9:30, right? Okay, 2 hours. Okay, good. No breaks. Yeah, the first time I gave teachings in Metta Welfare, it was 2-hour lesson, and the Venerable was like, so you may want to put a 15 minutes break in between. I say, okay, let's see how we go. But usually my classes are at least 2 hours, but no breaks. So, but if you feel that you need to take a toilet break, just go ahead. So let me just run through this handout. What you have with you is the handout. It is the result of the supplementary notes which I gave out at SBF years back. So you can thank them for crying, begging, and cajoling me into coming up with this. Because when I first started giving teachings on the Heart Sutra back in 2006 or 7, there were no notes. So everything was on the whiteboard and they had to scramble with copying. Yeah, so we have this here today because of that. In the handout, you'll see a puja, but we're not going through the Vandana, Tisarana, and Panchasila. Yeah, we are just reciting the Heart Sutra. The first verse that we recite earlier on, Namo Pen Shi Shijia Monifo, is kind of like an equivalent of Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Kind of like an equivalent. It's basically homage to the Buddha. Okay? So then we have the sutra proper, and right at the back, which is the bulk of it, is the translation and explanation. So this is a supplementary notes. Yeah. So feel free to read when you are back home. But usually the lesson itself would fill up the gaps in between. Okay? We'll fill up the gaps in between. Are we good? Can everybody hear me? Okay. I usually would have asked that earlier, but everybody seemed to be quite okay. Standing mic? For? Oh, it's okay. No problem. Thank you. Sometimes I may even stand up to ask people questions. So I don't usually ask the people in front. I usually ask the people behind. So just a hint. Yeah, and there are a lot of things to ask about in the Heart Sutra. So, yeah. Some background check. How many of you are complete kantang? How many of you are complete kantang? Raise your hand. Yeah, kantang means you can speak English, read English, but when it comes to Chinese words, like for example this, then it looks like a sea of blur. Is it clear? For kantang, it will still appear blur. So only a handful of kantang. Okay. Suddenly it increased. Yeah. So The good thing about this is that the translation and the notes is in English. What I will usually do is I'll write down the sutra in Chinese, then I'll give, where relevant, the English translation again, plus the transliteration. Yeah. Then I'll give the explanation. Okay. Yeah. At any point in time, if you find that you're lost, please raise your hand and let me know. Okay. But sometimes, if I'm in the middle of a train of thought, I may just ask you to wait. Okay. So, let's come straight into the sutra. If you can join me to turn to page 8. Venerable Sing Jing. So, this is the sutra itself. Venerable Sing Jing. So, this sutra itself, what we are reciting is actually a reply. Yeah. In many sutras that we are familiar with, it will usually start with "Thus have I heard." Yeah, 如是我闻. Yeah. And that's basically what Venerable Ananda said in the first council when he repeat to the 500 arahants, including himself, that this is what I have heard. Thus have I heard. Yeah, the Buddha was at Savatthi, at Anatta Pindika's park, Jeta's grove, and so on and so forth. Yeah, you notice that in the Heart Sutra, it just starts off with Guan Zizai Pusa, Sing Sen Pora Pola Mito Si, Zhao Jian Wu Yin Jie Kong, Tu Yi Qie Kuo. It doesn't have that portion. The reason is because we are actually reciting the reply. In the full sutra, there's actually that part that says, "Thus have I heard the Buddha was at this and this place." In this case, at Vulture's Peak, in India. Yeah. So this sutra, it cannot be found inside the Pali canon. Not found inside. So don't go back and look for Majjhima Nikaya, Digha Nikaya. Cannot find inside. Yeah, it is found inside the Chinese Tripitaka, under the section called. Let me see. I may write it down here. Under the section. Pora Pu. So, Pu can be translated as section or chapter, and this is the Prajna section. Or in Pali, this is in Sanskrit. In Pali is Panya, which is basically wisdom. So, within the Chinese Tripitaka, we have the 3 baskets as well. Yeah, the basket or the collection on sutras, the Vinaya, and Abhidhamma. Yeah, this is inside the sutras, which is basically the discourses. And within the discourses, there are many subsections, and one of the subsections is Agamas. Yeah, Agamas. So you have the Chinese Tripitaka, and this is under the Sutra Pitaka. So I'm giving you a kind of like an overview, so you know where this sutra falls under and where it's from. Yeah. If anybody were to ask you, like, okay, so where can you find the Heart Sutra? This is where you find the source. Yeah. You can easily find on Google such Heart Sutra. Yeah. But where exactly is it from? Within the canonical teachings, you can find it in this way. So within the Sutra Pitaka, there are many sections. One of the section is Agama. In Chinese, they call it Ahan. I'm highlighting some of this because in the course of the sutra, I will sometimes quote from other sutras to illustrate certain points. Yeah. So the Agamas is an equivalent to what we call in the Pali Canon the Nikaya. Okay? Yeah, Nikaya. Are you all familiar with the Nikayas? How many of you have heard of the term Nikaya? Okay, a good handful, a good number. Yeah, so the Nikaya and Agamas have very similar meaning. It means collection, yeah, compilation, collection. Yeah. The term Nikaya is commonly used in the Theravadan tradition to describe the collection of teachings given by the Buddha, which was compiled or aggregated, yeah, at the first council, and then sort of updated at subsequent councils. The term Agama is commonly found or used within the Mahayana tradition. So translated as Ahan, yeah, or in some places Ajimo, basically a transliteration. So within the Sutra Pitaka, there's another section called the section on wisdom. And that's where you find the Heart Sutra inside. That's where you find the Maha Prajna Paramita Sutra, the great wisdom sutra, yeah. Or you will find the Diamond Sutra, yeah. So Diamond Sutra is also one of the very popular and commonly known sutra, yeah. So someone also mentioned to me about how he just came back. What's this? Vera. Where's Vera? Vera. Yes. Vera was telling me about how he just came back from a trip to Dunhuang, the Silk Road, and how he was most moved by how others the whole trip is, even with modern conveniences. Many of the sutras that we have in the Chinese tradition were derived through that route. Yeah, masters very commonly known Xuanzang Dashi. How many of you have heard of the Journey to the West? Yeah, almost all Chinese would know, 西游记. Yeah, of course we know that it's a dramatization of the journey. Yeah, a lot of the characters are actually named after Buddhist terms. But the reason why Xuanzang Dashi went to India was because of another sutra called Yu Qie Siddhi Lun, Yogacara Bhumisastra. I happen to have the privilege of learning from my ordination teacher that particular commentary. Yeah, it is said that when Xuanzang Dashi, he was going through the teachings, he found that there are bits and pieces that seem to be, at odds with each other. And so he figured that there's some missing text. Yeah, and that gave him the impetus to make it that others travel all the way to India to get the rest of the teachings, yeah, and bring it back. But besides him, there's also Venerable Kumarajiva, Jimolosi Dashi, who was part of the translation team at another era. Yeah, so they are the two main translators. Besides them, there's Kueji Dashi, Oyi Dashi, and many others who translated the text. Then for the Vinaya, there are those like Dao Xuan Li Shi, yeah, who and Fa Xian Fa Shi, they went down over to India as well. Went over to India to collect the text. What's interesting, yeah. Now, some of you may wonder, it's already 20 minutes, and why isn't he going into the sutra? Stalling for time. No, it's to give you an appreciation of how uneasy it is to actually get this text. Yeah, it really went through a lot of trouble to get this text across and then translated. Xuanzang Dashi is Chinese. Jimolosi Dashi is not a Chinese. The interesting thing is that the two of them, they have a certain style of translation. Xuanzang Dashi tends to be more literal, whereas Jimulasi Dashi, Venerable Kumarajiva, he tends to be a bit more less literal. So it means that he will try to translate according to what is the intended meaning, but maybe rephrase it in a certain way and do away with the Indian prose and nuances. Whereas Xuanzang Dashi, Venerable Xuanzang, he would actually try to stick to the prose and terms and be as literal as possible. I didn't quite appreciate this until I started doing translation with my Dharma brother back in 2009. We're still slogging through. It took us 3 years just to go through one chapter of the Yogacara Bhumisastra. And that's with modern technology, with Google, with all the different kind of Buddhist dictionary, the electronic form at our disposal. And that's plus my ordination's teachings that we refer to, plus the Nikayas, the English translation that we make comparison with. And it took us 3 years just for one chapter. And through that process, and it's an ongoing one, I start to have very deep reverence and respect for the earlier translators. When we hear about how 去西藏去西天取经, like a big deal, A long time ago, there was this musical about Venerable Kumarajiva, how he actually, when he went over, he had to smuggle the teachings back. The teachings were so precious, they were classified as control items. So you're not allowed to export the teachings. Much like US now have a control on certain encryption technology. So what did Venerable Kumarajiva did? He actually supposedly cut his hand and hide the text inside his body, to smuggle it in. When I heard that a long time ago, to be very honest with you, I was not a monk yet, but I was not very moved. I was like, why would he do that? But when I myself do the translations, and after all these years of learning and training, then I really have a much deeper appreciation. And I hope that through this series, I do service to the original translators and give you what was intended to be in the sutra. So, Pora Polomito Sing Jing, the word Pora, it is a transliteration of the word prajna in Sanskrit, and it's panya, as I mentioned earlier, in Pali. Most of the Chinese sutras were translated from Sanskrit, but many of the terms were translated from Pali as well. A few years ago, I had a privilege of meeting one of the Venerable from Taiwan, and he highlighted this, that in the Tang Song dynasty, they actually invited monks from Cambodia, monks from Cambodia to go to China to assist them in translation. Later on, we will go through some terms which you'll find the sound actually is closer to Pali terms than Sanskrit. So this term, Pora, a long time ago, I remember Guan Ping Fa Si mentioning that the earlier the pronunciation is Poze. But I'm not sure how that transliterate. But transliteration means that we follow the tone and not the meaning. So, for example, who is the current president of United States? Obama. See, Obama. Roughly there. Roughly there. How about the previous one? George Bush, isn't it? Bush. And we translate as 布施. So Taiwan and China, they transliterate slightly differently. One is 布施, one is 布惜. Yeah, there's this ongoing thing between them. They almost will never agree to use the same transliteration. They somehow will have to just adjust it a little bit. Yeah, but for us, this transliteration happened, let me see, Tang Dynasty, about 5th to 8th century. Yeah, about maybe 7, this was maybe translated around 6th, 7th century. So that's about 1,300 over years ago. So, prajna, it means wisdom. I will go in brief first, then I'll come back to the first word, or phrase, and then I go give further meaning, okay? The second one, 波罗蜜多. So this is one word, okay? Yeah. For many people, when they come into Buddhism, especially the Chinese tradition, it's like hard to make any sense, because all these words are Chinese characters, but if you were to search the dictionary, there's no meaning. Yeah, and it becomes very hard to memorize. But when you realize that this is actually one word, 波罗蜜多, then it becomes easier, because then it means that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 characters. Yeah, so 波罗蜜多 is paramita. Yeah, paramita. And again, this is Sanskrit, and that's the parami. Yeah. And this loosely translated very commonly as perfection. I'll go through in a short while what the actual meaning is. And this is, of course, heart, and this is Sutra. So, wisdom. What is wisdom? In the Buddhist teaching, wisdom has an opposite called ignorance. In Chinese, ignorance is 无明. 无明. So, 无 means no, or the absence, or the negation. Yeah? Ming is brilliance. Ming itself, brilliance. Yeah, this word itself, brilliance, or light. This is actually a part of a parable, a metaphor. The Buddha gave this parable, saying, now imagine if there's this person going on a journey, okay, and while on the journey, he should see in the distance a snake. If you now suddenly have someone scream snake, yeah, how would you all feel? Excited? Happy? Most would be scared, huh? The rest of you, snake lah. We are attending Dhamma class. What can a snake do to us? Most people will be terrified. And so this man was also a bit taken aback. But as he approached with a torch, he started to see clearer and clearer. Up to some point, it becomes clear enough that he realized that the snake is nothing but a coil of rope. A coil of rope. And that split second, in that split instance, the snake disappeared. The snake disappeared. And with the absence of the snake, there's no more fear arising. Yeah, we can say that fear was removed, but in fact, more correctly, it is that fear no longer arises. Yeah, fear no longer arises. Fear arose before that because he saw a snake. He perceived a snake. Yeah, and being attached to his own life, he's afraid, and so fear arises. But the moment he sees that it's actually not snake, it's a coil of rope, then there's no more fear. The Buddha used this to give an example. The darkness is represented by this ignorance. Yeah, ignorance and darkness. Darkness is ignorance. And brilliance is wisdom. So ignorance is no wisdom. Make sense? Now, in this parable, the Buddha was trying to illustrate that we are like the man. It could have been a woman, okay? So lady folk, you can change it to a woman also, no problem. We are like the person, the traveler, shrouded by the darkness of ignorance. Yeah? And not seeing clearly, not seeing correctly, we are filled with fear. Filled with fear. Once wisdom arises, then we see clearly how things truly are. And when we see clearly how things truly are, then all fear, all suffering vanishes. Vanishes. There's actually an extension to this parable. An extension is that behind the snake is a pile of gold. How many of you have heard this story before? None of you. No one has ever heard this story before? Ever? One? Only one person. Two? Anybody else? This is most amazing. This is the first time I gave a teaching on this, and there's only 2 persons who have heard this parable. No one else, really? Okay. Because usually, even those who have heard, they'll be like, wow! And the reaction today is, must be something wrong with the way I'm delivering today. But I can check it out. This is actually inside. I'm not telling you the story? No, I just told you. The man and the snake and the rope. And that is the parable. that is the parable. The parable of the man encountering a snake and then realizing that it's actually not a snake. So the Buddha used this to illustrate that we, in our day-to-day life, we see things and become afraid, only because we don't see how things are. There's an extension to this parable, which is that there's gold behind the snake. I've always wondered, why must the person walk in this way? If there's a snake, if I'm him, there's a snake, I will turn left lah. I walk somewhere else. So I thought maybe there's a pile of gold behind. That's why he has to continue going. But if you were to continue with this parable, then upon moving closer, then he realizes that the snake is just a coil of rope. And as he looked further, the gold also disappeared. It turned out to be a pile of stones. In much the same way, when wisdom arises, that which used to be fearful ceases to be fearful. And that which used to be desirable also ceases to be desirable. You start to see that there's nothing desirable about it. That is an illustration of what wisdom is in Buddhism. There's worldly wisdom, and then there's supramundane wisdom. The kind of wisdom that we are describing here, that the Buddha described, is that which is the supramundane wisdom. The kind of wisdom that cuts away the ignorance that binds us to samsara. That binds us to samsara. In conventional usage, the term wisdom is also commonly used. People who has foresight can be considered as being wise, isn't it? But in Buddhism, even if a person has foresight, cannot be considered as having supramundane wisdom, unless this person has seen into how things truly are, ultimate reality. In other words, wisdom into ultimate reality. So what is ultimate reality? In the Theravadan tradition, we say that there are these 3 universal characteristics. What are the 3 universal characteristics? Yes, very good. You see all the front row. Yeah. Soon I'll be asking the backbenchers. Yes, anicca, dukkha, anatta. Is it legible? Okay, still okay. 无常苦无我 impermanence, suffering, no self. Impermanence and suffering, these two, applies to conditioned formation. Yeah, no self includes all phenomena. Yeah, all phenomena. So, in a nutshell, we can say that wisdom is to be able to see this. Yeah, see this, experience this. Yeah, in reality. Yeah, see this ultimate reality. Conceptually, we all can appreciate, isn't it? Yeah, that all things are impermanent. Sabbe sankhara anicchati. All conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Who doesn't know? Yeah, but to truly see it in action, then we call that wisdom. In the Buddhist tradition, in terms of wisdom, there's also 3 forms of wisdom that we can develop. Yeah, the first one is Wen. Let me write it down here. Wen, shi, xiu. So hearing, contemplation, and cultivation. So these are 3 levels of wisdom. The first level, through hearing. So when we say through hearing, it stems from how in the Buddha's time, there's no written text. There's also no YouTube video. Yeah. So you always have to listen to the teachings. In today's context, we have Dhamma books, we have videos, and so on and so forth. So it includes all forms of learning. Yeah, all forms of learning. But from this, what do we get? What we get is actually knowledge. Yeah, knowledge that points to wisdom. If you just do this, you cannot be enlightened. Not enough to be enlightened. And that's why we say that book knowledge doesn't get you enlightened. But it's a very important first step. With this, so today you collect this. When you go back, you read, you have a lot of knowledge of the wisdom. Yeah, or through the class you listen. Yeah, but beyond that, then we require that we contemplate. In a way, it is like thinking, but the difference between thinking and contemplation is thinking doesn't have a scope, yeah, and it is not directed. So you may start off thinking about, let's say, anicca, but if it's just thinking, you may think, the Buddha said that all things are impermanent. Then the next thing you know, you may think, oh yeah, impermanent. But my boss is quite permanent. I wish he will retire soon, but he's there forever. And then next thing you know, you start to feel stress. And you are no longer contemplating. Yeah, you are thinking. Whereas when we do contemplation, we have a scope. Yeah, the same thing. impermanence. Yeah, but you restrict yourself to the boundary of focusing on what impermanence is. And there's a certain steps. For example, the way I was trained in US is that you start off by reciting a certain set of texts from the sutras or the commentaries, known texts, yeah, based on what the Buddha or his disciples have taught. Yeah. So for example, you may repeat certain sutras on impermanence. Or let's say in this sutra, we talk about emptiness. Then we may repeat, let's say from the Diamond Sutra, 凡所有相皆是虚妄，若见诸相非相，即见如来. Yeah. Then you just repeat that for a while. Yeah. Until you're very familiar with the whole text. Then after that, you may repeat commentaries on that text to yourself. What is the meaning of that whole set of teachings? Yeah. Then after that, you do a reflection. So it's very defined, well defined. You don't jump around, you don't go all over the place. Okay? If you do that, this leads to an understanding. Yeah? It leads to an understanding of the teaching. Okay? This is one step above knowledge. Yeah, not just knowing what the Buddha said, but you make sense of it. Yeah? After contemplation, the teachings will start to make more sense to you. But still that not sufficient to get us enlightened. Okay? There's a third step, which is the cultivation portion. The first two steps is really to, first of all, know what the Buddha observed and discovered. The second one is to reflect over it and verify, at least in our mind, how the whole thing works and how it makes sense. The third one is the step of verification, yeah, which then leads to a realization. The third step is really to verify what you have learned and what you have contemplated. We learn from the Dharma talks, from the sutras, that the Buddha says that all conditioned phenomena is impermanent. What is impermanent? It has this feature of changing over time, yeah, and eventually ceasing to exist. Yeah, that it doesn't last forever. These are the features. Then we say, okay, what are the things within this constraint? The Buddha said, anything that is fabricated is like that. Then we contemplate. Okay. Then when we add in the cultivation portion, then we say, during meditation, we're going to observe directly. Nama, Rupa, mind and body. Observe. Is mind of this nature that the Buddha described, is it truly ever changing? Yeah? Does it last? Is it the same now and in the future? Yeah? And it's no longer just thinking, it's going repeatedly observing. And then beyond that, even in our day-to-day life, continuing this observation. Yeah? So in that sense then, as a Buddhist, we're quite busy. Not just monastics, but all Buddhists. Monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen, all we actually have a lot of things to do. Verification. Yeah? But once you verify once, twice, 3 times, is that enough? No. You verify repeatedly. Until one day, Hokkien we say, si sim. Understand? Not much Hokkien here. Si sing. Still no reaction. Yeah? How do you say that in English? Give up. Somebody mentioned give up before. But it feels very, give up. Yeah, in a way it's give up. Yeah. Because even though after you attend a Dharma talk, yeah, I'm sure many of you have attended tons of Dharma talk. Yeah, and each time the teacher explained, you feel, very roused up. But then after that, at the back of our mind, there's this gnawing feeling like, no, when we wake up in the morning, I look at the mirror, it's still me, what? Point by no self, There's this small little part of us that still hold on to it and say, no, actually, quite tangible, huh? Yeah, very real. Yeah, so it's through that repeated observation again and again and again, yeah, which is that cultivation portion, that finally our this habitual tendency, yeah, our this perception error is being worn out, yeah, yeah. And when it has finally worn out to the degree it has been worn out, to the degree we see the truth, and to that degree we are liberated. And that is what we call wisdom. Yeah. And once that happens, then clinging, attachment, craving, desire has no grounds to arise. Yeah? Has no grounds to arise. So it's not a magical process. Yeah? It's not a magical process that you just keep doing and then Buddha come and bestow upon us. Yeah? It is a very systematic approach to say, hey, you do this and you observe this, and that's why in the end you have no more interest in it. Yeah? Because you see it clearly. Yeah. I often share this modern example. Imagine one day when you're taking a plane off to a trip, yeah, off to some holiday, and then you're in economy class. You know how economy class is? It's about as like that now, very yeah, the seat is quite tight now. And then halfway through, while you're having a meal and then watching some in-flight movie, and suddenly you see a flash, and you look out, you happen to be at window seat, you look out and you're like, wow, there's a blaze going on, you know. One of the engine has just gone, and you're like, would you all like, how would you all react, actually? I mean, being so jaded, you know, the whole crew like, cool as a cucumber, no problem. Yeah. For me, and many people, you'll be like, hey, fire, yeah. Maybe your friend will be like, don't bother, you know, like I'm watching television, yeah, I'm watching a movie. Would you then press for the air steward or stewardess, dong, and then fella come up, yes sir, how can I help you? And then maybe at that point in time you're like, and what if the air steward like, oh, that, no worries. Now you don't see it. Yeah? Would you be like, okay, well, I don't see it anymore. Would you do that? You wouldn't, is it? Once you see it, there's no turning back, isn't it? Yeah? Huh? Fear, isn't it? You start to be aware that, wow, that we are in trouble, you know? But what if she say, okay, you know what? Let me help you with this. Come with me, sir. And then she promptly bring you to business class. Yeah, and sit you right in the middle of the business class cluster, you know? Yeah, far away from the window. Would you be okay? And quickly give you all the business class serving and then ask you, champagne? Or something like, I don't know what, yeah? Would you be okay? You wouldn't, isn't it? Yeah? In much the same way, someone who have had the first glimpse, Sotapanna, yeah? The Buddha said, those who have had the first glimpse, yeah, entered the stream, at most 7 more lifetimes. Yeah. Similarly, if you have seen, boom, at most, you know, go up to the business class, come back a few more times, you're like, okay, I need, you know, we need to solve this problem. Yeah. So, if we do not move beyond hearing, of course, if we start off with hearing, that's wonderful, and this is the whole point of this series of class. But throughout the class, I'll be asking you questions, yeah, and through that questioning, it's a guided form of contemplation for you to think about the Buddha's teaching. Eventually, I will ask you to do some exercises also, and you have to submit. Okay? Yeah. I don't get any points. And for the most part, you won't get any points also. Yeah, but what you do get is a chance to do a guided form of contemplation. Eventually, then you don't use the paper. Eventually, you should be able to, during meditation, do your own reflection. Yeah? And then from there, this becomes the basis for you to do the cultivation portion, which is to verify what you have contemplated. Yeah, this is what gets you enlightened. Yeah. So, wisdom. Yeah, the 3 levels. Yeah. So I have briefly some description here. You can go back and read. Okay, I'm not going through the notes. Okay. The next one is paramita. Paramita literally means to cross over to the other shore. Dao Pi'an. Dao Pi'an, to reach the other shore. It is another parable. The Buddha used a lot of parables to deliver his teaching. In the full sutra described this man, again a man. It could have been a lady, yeah, or kid or somebody. Yeah? But many times the Buddha used a man. Yeah? So this man, this person, was staying inside it started off with a village. And then the Buddha says, then he was pursued by 4 persons, then pursued by 5 persons, then pursued by 12 persons. And basically the whole village come after him. And the Buddha used all this number of individuals to describe the 5 aggregates, the 12 domains, the 18 elements, and so on. Basically, samsara. Yeah? Describing how all this is oppressive. Yeah. So this man being chased by all these debtors and these people run and then come to a bank. Yeah, a bank, not the ATM bank thing. The bank of a shore, of a river. So when he arrived at this bank, he see that across the river is safety. There's nobody there to chase after him. So seeing that that place is safe, he in him arises this thought, what if I cross over? If I cross over, it'll be safe. And thinking in this way, he collected wood, twigs, and made ropes, and then tie a few logs together to form a raft. Now, with this raft, he crossed over to the other shore, away from the danger on this shore. Yeah. The Buddha used this to describe samsara versus nibbana. Yeah? Samsara, this shore of suffering. 此岸到彼岸. This shore and the other shore. So using a raft, okay. In the Majjhima Nikaya, there's a sutta that talk about this, and in that particular sutra, it's called the simile of the raft. Yeah, in that simile, then the Buddha asked the monks, this person having crossed over, what should he do with the raft? Should he hold on to the raft on his head? Yeah? Or should he put it by the shore? Yeah, and the monks replied, what do you think the monks replied? Should he carry it, tapao? No. Yeah, should put it by the shore. Yeah, should leave it by the shore. The Buddha used this to illustrate a very important point. This shore, referring to samsara, the other shore, referring to nibbana, Pali, nirvana in Sanskrit. And the raft refers to Dhamma. And so his point was, when eventually you attain enlightenment, you have to not be attached to the Dhamma as well. Yeah? If you're attached to the Dhamma, even that attachment will bring you suffering. Yeah. So then, what more of other things in this world? If even the Dhamma should not be attached to, then what more of other things? So in the Diamond Sutra, there's this short verse, 法上应舍何况非法. Yeah. So if even the Dhamma should be let go or forgo, yeah, then what more of other things? Yeah, what more of other things? Now there are those in the tradition that then say, in that case, then we should let go of it now. Yeah, but that's the wrong interpretation. Okay, because if you let go of it right at the start, you cannot cross over. Yeah. Or as Ajahn, I think one of the Ajahn mentioned something funny. I think Ajahn Tanisaru or Ajahn Sujato, he said, if you let go, what if you let go of it halfway through, you know? Then you fall into the river. Yeah. But most notably, those who talk about letting go of the Dharma immediately actually comes from the Chinese Zen tradition. Yeah. I was ordained in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, so I have all the rights to criticize the Chinese tradition. Yeah, without anybody saying, "Wow, you want to attack Chinese Mahayana," because I'm from. It's like how Jews can joke about themselves and it's okay. Others joke about Jews. It is what? It is anti-Semitic. So this is the part of the meaning. So to cross over is paramita. And paramita refers to this set of qualities. Yeah? This set of qualities that allows you to cross over. Many times translated as perfection. Yeah? But the original meaning is this, to cross over. Yeah? And in this case, is to cross over to perfection. Yeah? To perfection. To attain Buddhahood. Yeah? To attain Buddhahood. So, in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, or we can say that in the Mahayana tradition, paramitas specifically refers to the set of qualities that a person start to cultivate towards Buddhahood. Such a person who cultivates in this way is known as a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva. In that sense, then when Venerable Sariputra started off cultivating many aeons ago, then he was a bodhisattva also. Yeah, the term bodhisattva basically refers to anyone who strives towards enlightenment. Yeah, for the sake of enlightening others. Yeah, so we'll go a bit more into that in a short while. In terms of the qualities, there are commonly six known quality, known as the six paramita. So here I want you all to memorize together with me. The six paramita. Repeat after me. 布施、持戒、忍辱、精进、禅定、般若. Yeah, it's actually inside. You don't have to memorize. Yeah. On page 9. If you're like me, you would not like to memorize. Yeah. When I was a young kid, I think in primary 1, my English teacher somehow decided that I'm good enough to join a storytelling competition. So she gave me this storybook, a very short storybook. The title is Mutu the Lazy Boy. Yeah. And so she asked me to, in primary school when they do storytelling, a long time ago. Nowadays, the kids very good. They go up, maybe with sound effects some more. Yeah. But last time when I was in primary school, it was a very simple affair. You just go up and just recite a story. That's it. You don't actually tell a story. So my job was very simple: memorize that. But I don't like to memorize. So after 1 week, she asked me, "Are you ready? Maybe you want to try in front of the class first before you try in front of the whole school." So I went up, and then I repeated. The start of the story says, "Mutu is a lazy boy." Yeah, that's basically what happened. And then she looked at me, "Any more?" Then I said, "No more." And she said, "Okay, take a seat. Go and memorize more, yeah, and then try again next week." Yeah. So next week came, and she again asked me, "Come." So Most kids, if they didn't manage to memorize more, they will just refuse, they will cry, I bravely come up. And again, okay, you may begin. Motu is a lazy boy. And I just smiled. And she again like, any more? Said, no more. So it must have happened like 2 or 3 times, at least twice, if not 3 times. When finally she decided that, I'm not going to make it. So she said, okay, you know what, never mind. Yeah, years later, I realized something. I am Motu. Yeah. I don't know whether she meant it that way. Yeah. But I sincerely, I never finished the story. So I can only remember this line of the story. So don't ask me for the rest of the story as well. Yeah. But my point is this. When I started off as a young child, I really hated memorization. And that's why Chinese was not my best language as well. Yeah, it was a nightmare. But over the years, I somehow found myself remembering a lot of things, yeah, including all the commands of the basic programming language, yeah. And I realized that interest was a very important part, yeah. Plus usage. Interest is one thing, but usage as well. When you use it often enough, you just remember. For example, did any of you have to memorize your name? I don't think so, isn't it? Yeah. But interesting thing is that, like, even today, I can remember my primary school friend's phone number, 293094. Don't try to call that number; it's probably not in use. 293094. Yeah, notice it's only 7 numbers. Yeah, because that was before the 6 was included in landlines. I remember very specifically that day, my friend Tan Guan Yong was my primary school friend. And that day, he wanted to give me his number. And when I took out my little exercise book to write down, he said, just how many numbers? Memorize it. I was like, okay. Yeah. And until today, I can remember. The advantage of memorization was to be known to me much later. Yeah. Because once I become a monk, being trained in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, you had no choice but to learn a lot of things. Yeah, and because if you notice, most of the Chinese characters are written in 繁体字, in the traditional script. Yeah, so don't think that my Chinese is very good. It's because it's very bad. Yeah, I had to relearn all the Chinese characters. Yeah, but the key thing I'm trying to highlight to you is that it can be done. And when you at least memorize some text, the advantage is nobody can take that away from you. Yeah, nobody. If you think, but Sifu is on Google what? Yeah. If you don't have internet connection, no more Dharma. If you leave it in your handphone, yeah, that's an advantage. You can carry it anywhere. But again, when you have no more battery, then how? Yeah. And what if it's an emergency? Yeah. Then you frantically wait. Or maybe in the office, when someone scolds you, yeah, when there's some argument, and you want to bring back the teachings to your mind, yeah, to calm yourself down. What are we going to do? Hang on, boss, hang on, let me check. Access to insight, let me check the teaching on hatred. It's too late, huh? It's too late. And most importantly, when we do meditation and we want to do reflection, you cannot simply interrupt your meditation. Then, okay, breathing in, breathing out, and then calm down. Okay. Oh yeah, wait. Guan zizai pusa xing shen. What is it, huh? By the time you open your eyes and you flip, your concentration is gone. Then you are not doing contemplation. So memorization is very useful. There's no requirement to memorize in Chinese or English. And for that matter, to me, Pali as well. Why? Because, Chinese monks, many Chinese Mahayana Buddhists will swear by Chinese Sutra. Yeah, they will say, no, it must be taught in Chinese. You must memorize in Chinese. in Mandarin or whatever. And I'm like, but the Buddha was not even Chinese. Yeah, Theravadan Buddhism will insist that you must know it in Pali. But the Buddha probably didn't speak Pali. Yeah, a lot of scholars says that he probably spoke Prakrit, one of the languages of Magadha, which is a close cousin of Pali. But the point is, choose one language that you're comfortable, and at least remember some teachings. Okay, 6 qualities here. The first one, generosity. The second one, precepts. The third one, patience. Then effort or diligence. And 5th, concentration. And last one, wisdom. Wisdom is number 6, but it's actually the first. First in the sense that it is the guiding principle for the first 5. Without number 6, the first 5 are just worldly qualities that anyone can do. Anyone can do. It is number 6 that brings the first 5 to perfection. Take for example, generosity. Anyone can practice generosity. Take for example, Bita here. Let's say I give Bita this pen here. Let's say, okay? Let's say. And then she happily take it. Without saying thank you. Part of the... So, when we give people something, for the most part, it seems like a very simple, wholesome act, isn't it? But ask yourself, whether yourself or others, sometimes we unconsciously have certain expectation. For example, giving Bita this pen, I would hope that it comes to use for her. The next time I meet her, I would hope that I see her writing using that pen, But what if, before I see her again, let's say she pass it to him. And now, now he has this pen, And let's say somewhere along the road, before meeting her, I bump into him, and I see him using this pen. And I'll be like, let me take a look at that pen. And I'll be like, that looks very familiar. Where do you get this pen from? And then he very honestly and very innocently says, Bita. Oh, all hell break loose. Has it happened before? It has, isn't it? So giving, anyone can do it. But without wisdom, there can still be attachment. Attachment to me being the giver, her being the recipient, and the gift itself. How often have I heard people say, "Hey, where's that pen that I gave you? Where's that phone that I offered you? Where's that ropes that I offer you?" Of course, sometimes people just say that without really thinking much into it, and may not really mean that. But the choice of words do reflect our inner world. Where is that set of ropes that I offered you? Or where's the rope that? Where's my rope that I offered you? For example, Even though we have given it away, we may still be attached to it being ours. That is our gift to you. Any form of attachment, including that, can be a source of conflict, stress, and embarrassment sometimes. Can I have my pen back? Thank you very much. And we can go on through the other, the rest of the paramita, and it's the same. It's the same. I will just go through a few of them. Precepts, for example. Those of you who come for the service, for the puja on Sunday, you would have recited Panatipata Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Yes. I undertake the precept to abstain from killing. So, even for precept, on the most fundamental level, is what we call 律仪戒. 律仪戒, yeah? Meaning that we observe the precept in terms of the rules. Yeah? The rule says this, we observe in this way. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? This is the most fundamental level. But beyond that, there's the 定共戒. 定共戒. Observance of precepts coupled with concentration, coupled with meditative strength. Then there's a most supreme level, which is 道共戒. 道共戒. Observance of precepts coupled with liberation. Liberation. Let me explain, okay? The first level, which is how most of us, if not all of us, start off with, is the Buddha has taught us that killing is harmful. So we think about it, we reflect, okay, we accept. Yeah? But having accepted it, does it mean that there's no more intention to kill? No. Sometimes we can still feel frustrated. Yeah? For example, when you go for a walk in the park, then the mosquito comes along. Do you all have a intention to have or not? Must be honest, Buddha here. we do, isn't it? Yeah. But out of devotion to the teachings, yeah, out of respect to the Buddha, yeah, and commitment to the precepts, we say, okay, you watch out, go away, yeah. So this is how we observe initially. Okay. Again, no crime and shame in observing in this way. This is a good start. But so it means that at this level, we still need to put in effort. Yeah, we still need to put in effort. But there can still be that anger or that aversion arising. But at the higher level, if you do meditation up to a deeper degree, then even if there's mosquito or anything happening, as long as you are within samadhi or jhana, you are not affected. Yeah. At that point, you observe the precepts, not without having to put in that kind of strenuous effort. I cannot kill, because at that point in time, you are absorbed in the inner tranquility. Yeah, not affected by externalities. But once you exceed, different story. You may still okay. At the third level, observance of precepts coupled with liberation. It is said that Arahants cannot do 9 things. An Arahant cannot do 9 things. Is incapable of doing 9 things. 4 of which is that he cannot intentionally kill, steal, engage in sexual activity, or lie. Incapable. Yeah, incapable. When an Arahant is not able to kill intentionally, what does that mean? Yeah? What does that mean? We also don't kill. He also don't kill. Or she also don't kill. An Arahant don't kill as well. But what's the distinction? Can someone tell me, why doesn't an Arahant kill? Is it because the Buddha says so? Is it because it's inside the precepts? Or what? Come, now is the question time. Last row. Anyone? Just no, don't worry. Yeah, we are among our own brother and sisters. Just try. Guess. Yes. Very good. No more aversion. Well done. Give her a round of applause. Yes. You all have been saved, huh? Yes, exactly. No more aversion. The Buddha, in the teachings of Vinaya, he highlighted there are 5 conditions for breaking the precept on killing. First, sentient being. Second, the perception of a sentient being. Third, the intention to kill. Fourth, the action to kill. Fifth, the death of the sentient being. Yeah? In the case of us observing precepts, we may still have the aversion and wish to kill, but we don't execute. And that's why nothing is killed. And that's why we observe the precept. Yeah? But of course, not all of us. Some of us, we may have also removed that aversion to some degree. At least to the point of not killing. Okay? But for an arahant, greed, hatred, delusion completely wipe out. No more ignorance. Yeah? And as a result, no more reason to kill. Yeah. So they observe the precepts in this way, what we call effortless observance of the precepts. 无功用, 无功用. No more effort required to say, I shall not kill. No need. Because there's no more intention to kill. Yeah. This is how, if we observe precepts, anyone can observe precepts. Yeah. But if you still have ignorance, you still have attachment, you still have greed, hatred, delusion, today you may observe. But if the defilement is strong enough, maybe you don't observe. Yeah, maybe you may observe, when it's your good friend. But if it's your enemy, can you still observe? Maybe it may be difficult. Yeah, but for an arahant with wisdom, no issue. Yeah, because the cause, the driving force for killing has been totally eradicated. Yeah, totally eradicated. So similarly, it goes for the rest of the perfections. Okay, for the rest of perfections. I often want to highlight these 6 paramitas. In the Theravadan tradition, there's 10. So don't think, 6 are so much. Yeah. In the Theravadan tradition, there's 10. Do you know the 10? Do you know the 10? Some of you yes, some of you no. So if you wish, you can start off with this 10, then later learn with this 6, then after that continue with the 10. For the most part, they are mutually inclusive. Yeah, mutually inclusive. We can look at these qualities not simply as something that bodhisattvas embody, but instead ask yourself, generosity, is it something good to cultivate? It is, isn't it? Yeah. Precepts. The term sila has a few meanings. We often translate as precepts, but there's one more meaning, which is behavior. Behavior. Sila, behavior. So, samma sila, right behavior. Conducive behavior for happiness. To me, when I first heard it from this very senior Mahathera from Sri Lanka, I was like, that's a very meaningful translation. Yeah, behavior. So then it's no longer simply about what like a set of rules that it binds you, but it's about our behavior in general, how our behavior affects others. Yeah, so the right kind of behavior. Number 3, 忍辱, patience or forbearance, being able to endure. In this day and age, understated. Nowadays we tend to have very little tolerance, whether for environment that is unpleasant or people. More tolerance or forbearance will be much appreciated. Concentration. In recent years, meditation has taken quite a leap. Nowadays, everybody seems to be talking about mindfulness. Yeah, but we must be cautious. If we start to think of mindfulness meditation as the panacea for everything, we might be sort of sidestepping what the Buddha intended. In almost all the teachings, mindfulness is only one of the factors. In the Noble Eightfold Path, it is only one of them. Yeah, number 7. In the 5 powers and 5 roots, it's only the 3rd one. Yeah. So for those who are non-Buddhists, when they come into the mindfulness training, it's understandable. Yeah, because they have no groundings in the Buddhist teaching. But for Buddhists, we shouldn't just take mindfulness and ignore everything else. Yeah? Otherwise, it'll be like going to a restaurant and then just ordering one dish and ignoring the full course. Yeah, that would be quite a waste, isn't it? Yeah. So concentration is actually a very key thing, part of the practice also. Yeah, it's the noble eightfold path, culminating in wisdom. Yeah, culminating in wisdom. So this poro polo mi tuo, yeah, perfection. Okay, perfection. Heart, sing, heart. So the Sanskrit is hadiya, 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 hadiya. So heart, there are three meanings that can be found within the sutras, in various sutras. The first one is what we call the physical heart. Okay, physical heart. The second one is the mind heart. Okay, understand? Everybody okay? The third one, it means essence. This sutra, the title, we are using the third meaning. Okay, the third meaning, essence. So, meaning that this is the essence of the Prajna Paramita Sutra. Okay, the term Jing, original word is sutra. Then there are other translations that translate as Xiu Duo Luo, basically sutra. What is the meaning of sutra? We commonly translate it as discourse, but in fact, the original meaning of sutra is thread. Thread. If you take two pieces of cloth, they are easily separated. But now if you are to put them together and take a thread and string them together, yeah, thread them together, then it is firm, yeah, it sticks together. So sutras refers to all those teachings given by the Buddha and his enlightened disciples, including arahants and enlightened bodhisattvas, such that by listening to them, by reflecting on them, and contemplating and practicing accordingly, then our body, speech and mind is threaded in line with that of the Buddhas, yeah, in line with that of the enlightened ones. And in this way, we move towards enlightenment. So in almost practically all Buddhist tradition, teachings given by later teachers are never considered sutra. Yeah, there's only one exception, 六祖坛经. Unfortunately, there are different thoughts about it, different thoughts about it. But generally speaking, all teachings given after the Buddha's time are usually not considered sutra. Usually classed under commentaries, yeah, sastras. So, for example, today, Sifu give this series explaining this sutra, the Heart Sutra. My explanation is not considered sutra. Okay, it's an elaboration of the sutra. Okay, so together, then it is that this is the sutra, the teachings, which is the essence of the perfection of wisdom. The essence of the perfection of wisdom. There are those who say that this sutra is actually composed later on as a summary of the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra. Yeah. Okay. If you have had some glimpse of the original sutra, such as the Diamond Sutra or the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra, you'll find that it is very similar, yeah, if not identical, except that it's like an executive summary. Yeah. So standing at 260 characters is one of the shortest sutra. Can you all memorize it? I hope that after these 10 lessons, we are able to do that. I recited this sutra for quite a while, but I never memorized it until when I was in university. I took part in one of this Dharma camp, and then this instructor from Taiwan, she shared with us this. She said, all of you are university undergrads, yeah, but I see that many of you cannot memorize even the Heart Sutra. And so she told us this. She said that in Taiwan, they organize a camp. And it is for, primary school kids. And they managed to memorize it. Wow, pressure, Yeah. Wow, so all of us got the kick. Put in effort to memorize. And surprisingly, within that 1 or 2 days, a good number of us did manage to memorize it. So I urge you strongly, if you want to memorize it, you can refer to the full text over here in page 5. Page 5. I've included Hanyu Pinyin. And originally I put in traditional script. But after much request from other students, I have included here the simplified script. So hope you all can try that. At this point, any question? Any question? So, yes. Why is it not found in the Theravadan tradition? This is a very good question. There are few plausible reasons. Let me first cite some of the Theravadan monks, such as Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, Venerable Thanissaro Bhikkhu, and Venerable Sujato. Two of them from the Thai forest tradition. They have done extensive translation work. And when they do translation of the Pali Canon, they don't just look at the Pali Canon. They don't just look at the Thai canon. They look at the Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Cambodian, the different sources. And I visited Venerable Sujato in 2007, early 2007, in Australia. And he shared that when they do translation, they even refer to the Chinese text, the Chinese Tripitaka. So according to them, the reason for some sutras appearing only in Chinese Mahayana could have been a variety of reasons. Because even within the Pali canon, even within the Theravadan tradition, we do find that certain traditions have certain sutras that doesn't appear in other tradition. So they believe that it is most likely that certain sutras were not retained, partly because when there's famine and there's certain groups, certain monasteries that just die out, then certain teachings just get lost. That's one key reason that they cited. But from a Chinese Mahayana tradition, I must say that within our lineage, we explicitly said that certain sutras were retrieved from the Dragon Palace, Long Gong. So this is inside our own teachings. We explicitly said that there are certain of these teachings that are actually retrieved from the Dragon Palace. But we also, inside the teachings, it also says that retrieved from there, but how did it end up there? It was actually said to be compiled from the Buddha as well. So although the source is from the Dragon Palace, it is said that it is still taught by the Buddha. It is not within my means to verify whether it is this or that. But what I do know is this. Inside the Pali Canon, you cannot find the name Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi also. You cannot find Ajahn Brahm inside Pali Canon also. But it doesn't make his teaching any lesser. The Buddha in one of the teaching inside Mahaparinibbana Sutta, it's inside the Digha Nikaya. He said, in future, if you encounter teachings that is claimed to be the Buddha's teaching, how should you determine whether it's true or not? He says that one criteria is if it conforms in letter, to existing teachings, and conforms in meaning, then it's true. If it conforms in letter, very similar letters, but not in meaning, then it's not true. If it doesn't conform in letter, but conforms in meaning, it's still true. If it doesn't conform in letter and in meaning, then of course it's not true. So the important thing is whether it conforms in the meaning. But of course, for me, I stem from the Chinese Mahayana tradition. I have to officially tell you, yes, this is the Buddha's teaching. But I, in Chinese Mahayana tradition, I often have to tell the Buddhist devotees that don't simply take a sutra that has very nice cover, maybe put Buddha's image in front, and it says 佛说 something something 经, or the Buddha taught this sutra. And if it start off with 如是我闻如是我闻以是佛在舍卫国基数基故度愿于大比丘, then it must be true. I say no, that is not the basis for determining whether it's true or not. That is not reliable. You must go and examine the teachings, whether it conforms with the general set of direction of the Buddha's teaching. And what is the direction? To establish what is suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of it, and how to put an end to it. In all the Buddha's teaching, it must be found the Four Noble Truths. Otherwise, no. In the Chinese Mahayana tradition, that is condensed into 3 Dhamma seal, by which you can authenticate. Is a teaching authentic? I often ask people, today if you find some picture, some painting, exquisite, what is the value of that painting? The value of the painting depends on the authenticity of the painting. And most importantly, authorship. Authorship of painting is very important. Why is that important? Let me ask you, if you take a picture of Mona Lisa with a digital camera, 24 megapixel, and reprint it, it's zero value. Isn't it? Even though it's picture perfect. Because it's not authentic. Value in pictures, in art, requires authorship. So when you find, like in recent years, oftentimes you see that in the news, or some cache of painting found in some barn, some old underground, whatever they were digging, then the first thing they do is send it to a curator. The curator would maybe sometimes take a sample of the fabric, sometimes take a sample of the wooden frame, sometimes a sample of the paint at different degrees to determine the age. Sometimes they'll take, let's say, the blue color and do a sample and find out what is the material used. If they use certain cobalt, silver or whatever, then they will know, okay, this kind of material was often used in the 17th century. And let's say it doesn't match with the supposed author, then they know that this is a forgery. And if it's a forgery, no matter how well it's painted, zero value. But to me, the value of a teaching cannot be determined in this way. Because another teaching, it could have been a very old script, or a stone tablet carved around the Buddha's time. But if it doesn't bring you to end of suffering, then what value is there? There's no value. In Buddhism, if a teaching cannot bring a person to end of suffering, it has no value. It has no value. It's a translation by Xuanzang Dashi, yes. There are, if you go into the Chinese Tripitaka, there are up to 6 different translations done at different centuries. They all are mostly identical. Mostly identical. Any other questions? where's the Dragon Palace? It's somewhere in the, I don't know, river. It's underwater. Yeah, underwater. And if you ask me, I don't know where is it. Oh, it's an actual place. Yeah, it's meant to be an actual place. Yeah. I prefer to just get it out of the way, and tell you in your face that that's the source. That's one of the source of some of these sutras. Yeah. I prefer to just get it out of the way than just skirt around it. Yeah, because eventually, if you were to do more learning into the Chinese Mahayana tradition, and actually not just Chinese Mahayana, any tradition that is under Mahayana will have to come to terms with the fact that a chunk of the teaching actually has its source in this way. Yeah. So the question is, okay, so do you want to take it or not? Yeah. But let me give you a piece of interesting news. The Abhidhamma is said to have been delivered by the Buddha when he went to the heaven to give teachings to his mother, and then he come down and he repeated to Venerable Sariputra, and he somehow remembered it and then passed it down. Yeah. The Abhidhamma. Yeah, all 7 books. All 7 books. Yeah. Yes. Yes. At what age? Very good point. I don't know. In many sutras it says, 如是我闻一时 at one time. This is called the Indian time. The recording is audio, right? Yeah. But honestly, when we talk about the time, if you look at Visuddhimagga, it says that Indians, and this is not a joke, Indians, they didn't keep good records of chronological events. So when the Indians wanted to do a proper history archiving, they actually referred to the Visuddhimagga, for time events. Yeah. So it appears that Indians in general, since the Buddha's time, they were not too concerned about time. They give very, very figurative expression of time. Yeah. Not to give very precise denotation of time. And perhaps even until now they are still like that, Yeah. But there are some masters who suggest that the reason why when the sutras were recited, it was established in this way. It is said that they don't put which year, because these sutras, it is said, these sutras will also be sort of transmitted to other worlds. And in other worlds, those time would not make sense anyway. Yeah, so they always say 一时 at one time. At one time. Yeah. If you're interested in, let's say, like to know when certain teachings were given, sometimes there are telltale signs as well, even though it's not explicit. For example, there's this sutra where a monk asked the Buddha, told the Buddha that he cannot remember all the training rules, the Vinaya, because there's 100 over rules. Yeah. So this tells us that it was not right at the start, and it was not towards the end also. Because towards the end, like Theravadan, they have 227 rules. Chinese Mahayana, 250. So when in that sutra, the monk complained about having too many rules, and it was 150 or something. Yeah. So it's somewhere in between. So from such telltale signs, you can roughly know roughly when that happened. Yeah. But other than that, no precise dating is possible. Any question about the title itself? From the title, it sets the tone that this sutra is about how to attain enlightenment, to cross over to the other shore. If we look at the full sutra, it starts off with a question. At voucher speak, Venerable Sariputra then asks the question. He asks something to the extent, 善男子、善女人，若发阿耨多罗三藐三菩提心，应云何住？云何调伏其心？ So if a wholesome man or woman were to give rise to bodhicitta, to have the aspiration to attain Buddhahood, how should such a person cultivate? How should he quell his mind? On what should he abide his mind on? How should he practice, in other words? What we are reciting is the reply. 观自在菩萨行深般若波罗蜜多时，照见五蕴皆空，度一切苦厄。So this is the reply. When Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is practicing, is cultivating 行深般若波罗蜜多时。So, this Guan Zizai Pusa, this refers to what we usually call Guan Si Yin Pusa. We are more familiar with Guan Si Yin Pusa or Guan Yin Pusa. So Guan Zizai Pusa, this is the same person. There are two main translations. Bear with me here. I don't mean to be so academic, okay? But this is how I was taught. But this is purely non-academic. I will often mention, there's this translation, there's that translation, but this is not meant to be an academic course. The reason why I bring in the different translation is to give us a deeper appreciation. There's another translation which is Guan Si Yin, and these two, you can find these two different translations inside the Tripitaka. In some other texts, some masters translate as 观世音自在菩萨. And it all stems from how Sanskrit and Pali, when you have two terms, one term ending with a and another term starting with a, when you come together, it becomes a long A. And sometimes the front don't have A and the back have a A, come together, it just continue. So it is said that this Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, this name can be chopped off in two ways. So one way, the name becomes Guan Si Yin Pusa. Another way becomes Guan Zizai Pusa. So what is the meaning? His name basically means the one who listens to and observes the sounds of the world. The one who listens to and observes the sounds of the world, the cries of the world, the cries of all sentient beings. It is a very powerful image, that of a Bodhisattva who is always on the lookout to see who needs help. On one hand, it may seem quite, amazing and perhaps even unbelievable. But on the other hand, if you look at the Pali Canon, the Buddha actually do that. Every morning, before he go on alms round, he would meditate and he would observe the world. And observe and see who is ready to be liberated. Many sutras start off in this way. Venerable Angulimala received help because of that. Because the Buddha that morning observed, this person, if this Angulimala is not being given some assistance, he's about to kill his own mother. And out of compassion, he appeared. Yeah? But the Buddha cannot simply make it happen. So in a way, when Venerable Angulimala saw the Buddha as compared to his mother, he made a choice already. He, out of compassion for his mother, filial piety, he decided, okay, I'll kill this monk instead of my mother. So in a way, Angulimala saved himself. But the Buddha provided a condition. So this is a very direct example, and it's from the Pali Canon. Sometimes when we read the teachings from the Mahayana text, it may seem quite incredible, Wow, I got this Bodhisattva scanning the whole world every day, and then going out to help people. But the Buddha was doing that. In another sutra, the Buddha observed, who is ready for the truth? And he observed, this cowherd is ready. And so he went forth on this long journey, walked all the way there with a whole entourage. When he arrived there, guess what? The cowherd is out herding cows. Not in. So he waited the whole day. Waited until the sun was coming down, then he came back. And when he came back, the Buddha then said, well, give this man some water to wash his feet and water to drink, and let him have a seat. Give him some food, whatever is left. When the man was rested, then the Buddha gave him teachings. From this sutra, again, we see this example, that the Buddha, every day, he will observe. According to my teacher, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the Arahants, if they were to make that conscious effort to go and help someone, usually it is those who are on the extreme of the bell curve. My teacher, of course, never mentioned bell curve. My teacher is very elderly and from Northeast China, and according to him, he didn't even complete his primary school education. He always say, 我是乡下小孩, a village boy. But he says, those who are very far ahead in the cultivation and just need a bit of nudge to progress into the next step, the Buddha and Bodhisattvas will appear to come and assist them. Because once they cross over to the next step, they can progress much faster and help in doing Dharma teaching. Then there's the other group, which is on the other far end, about to do something very stupid. If you don't help them, they will be stuck in the low realms for a long time. Then there are the rest of us in between. 高不成低不就. How to translate into English? Never mind. Not up, not down. Middle path. Somewhere in between. So Guan Pusa, there are many accounts about this Bodhisattva. One of the ones that is very touching that I remember is that some people ask me, wow, Sifu, not easy to practice, How? I'm not ready to practice. I still have a lot of defilements. I still have a lot of habits, this and that. But we must remember, the Buddha and all the Arahants and Bodhisattvas, they don't wait until they are perfect, then they practice. They start practicing when they are imperfect. Precisely because when they are imperfect, they have to start practicing. So at one point, this Guan Pusa, he was like us, unenlightened. But at some point, he decided that he's not going to live his life just for himself. He decided that he want to do something for others as well. And so he set forth this vow, that from this day onward, I will not forsake any sentient beings. And if I were to do that, if I were to forsake any sentient beings, may my head shatter into pieces. And from that day onward, he practiced arduously, over a long period of time. How long? The minimum in the teachings, it says, 3 asankhya kalpa, 3 great long time period. A very long time. And so he practiced up to a certain point. He decided this is too tough, and he arose this thought to give up. At that point in time, his body, his head shattered. It is said that his teacher, so now a lot of the Mahayana names come in, Amitabha. Many of us know Amitofo, yeah, but there's a lot of very interesting connection between them. Yeah, Amitabha is said to be his teacher, and so he appeared and then sort of like pieced him together and reminded him, have you forgotten about your vow? A long time ago, when you started off, you set forth this vow that you will not forsake any sentient beings. Remember this vow. Still more to do. Yeah, and so sort of reassured, he continued. And so today, he has already attained enlightenment. Yeah, the Buddha started off that way as well. Who knows? Maybe some of you have started. So when you have completed the 3 asankhya kalpa, then you attain Buddhahood. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Buddha is here. Where are we? Here? Tell me when to stop, okay? Here? Here? Yeah? Yeah? If I say that we are here, it's actually very encouraging, because it means we have started on this path. But most of us may be somewhere here. This is called the 知量位, the stage of accumulation. Accumulation of what? Not accumulation of houses and cars, but accumulation of merits, as resources. The Buddha described this as a path, like a journey. So to start off on a journey, you need resources. So rightly speaking, this stage you have not started. We have not started. The actual start is from stage 1 Bodhisattva, spanning all the way to stage 7, where the Bodhisattva can enter Parinibbana. And that's where there's a lot of, you know what, forget about sentient beings. Let me just, And then after that, the Buddha will come. Need some Bodhisattva in this other place. Continue practicing until you reach stage 10. That's where your wisdom is equivalent to a Buddha. But there's still a need for conditions before you can arise as a Buddha. We'll come back to this later on once we have covered a bit more of the teaching, and then you'll see why even for a Buddha, he need condition to arise. A Buddha cannot simply say, I'm a Buddha, I can arise at will. Whenever I want to arise, I suka come. Then better wait for Singapore, 9th of August, National Day, appear in National Stadium, boom, okay, all of you come, listen to Dhamma talk. But no, he cannot do that. Requires condition. So we are somewhere here. Let's say maybe we are here, okay? So after seeing the poster, we put in effort, register for Heart Sutra class. On a Tuesday, very motivated. Then tomorrow, how many of you are going to work? A good number, should be a good number. Then tomorrow going to work, after hearing this teaching, very motivated. Boss scold you, no problem. Then Wednesday, Thursday, boss scold you. Friday, very sian. Okay lah, go for some, maybe go for some, go for what? Go for a drink. Oh, go for a drink. then after that, okay, weekend coming. Okay. Sunday come back for some puja. Okay, must practice. Okay. Then after that, Monday, get scolded by boss. Fed up lah. Then after that, okay, Tuesday, Sutra. Okay, Sutra. Yeah. Then again, ding dong. Then Sunday, come over here, then encounter some difficulty. Yeah. So I want to just not that I want to harp on it, but I heard that recently we have the EOGM. Then at first, practice, EOGM. What is going on, man? I don't want to practice anymore. We must always remember, the truth is a truth. Doesn't matter what is being said. Yeah. Stick to the Dharma. Yeah. The Buddha gave the teaching. There are 4 things we should rely on. 依法不依人，依法不依人，依了义，依义不依文，依了义不依不了义，依智不依时。Yani is laughing like crazy. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. I'll explain the rest in future, but 依法不依人, so rely on the Dharma, not on people, on person. This is not said by me. Don't think, Sifu, you are so arrogant. No, include me, okay? 依法 depend on Dharma, not on people, because people can be fallible. Yeah. Even the Buddha himself, he said, don't come and look at me. Look at the Dharma. Yeah, Dharma is what get you enlightened. Just holding on to the Buddha's rope will not get you enlightened. You can follow the Buddha for 45 years. Follow him everywhere he go. He go toilet, you also follow. Yeah, he cannot be enlightened. Follow the Dharma. Abide by the Dharma. Yeah, and if we can abide by the Dharma, that doesn't matter. It's okay. Yeah. Because in worldly affairs, when there's people bound to have misunderstanding, we are all unenlightened. We cannot see clearly. Yeah, so stick to the Dharma, safer. So never mind EOGM, never mind. Come back. Yes. Stick to the teachings. Stick to Dharma. Then after that, a friend asks you to go watch movie. Okay lah, watch movie. Then after that, okay, no. See some bad news on world crisis. Better practice. Then suddenly, year-end sale. Sifu, I'm very busy. So we keep doing this. Until one fine day. Maybe, don't know when. Maybe next life. Some life, okay? Some point in time we decide, no, from today onward, I will keep on progressing. Yeah, maybe we still move back a bit. Yeah, but the general trend is we start to move forward. Yeah, like stock market. So until finally we cross the threshold. Yeah, this threshold, stage 1, the stage of joy. 出欢喜地. Yeah, more correctly, the initials or stage of initial joy. Yeah, 出欢喜地.